Love it or leave it.
Now it is time for the Rant Wheel. Here's how it works. We spin the wheel wherever it lands. We rant about the topic. This is our New York edition. Hey, I'm ranting here. This week on the wheel, we have Skittles, when a cab almost hits me while I'm walking here, window AC units, summer, the false promise of sci-fi, the smugness of pigeons, the summer sun, and something rantastic.
Something rantastic.
That's what we've got. Let's spin the wheel. It has landed on Skittles, and even though it's not New York themed, that is what I want to talk about. I'm going to keep this very brief. Skittles announced that they're coming up with a mustard flavored Skittle. It's a piece. It's a freaks. It's a PR stunt to draw attention to Skittles, and it did work. Here's what I want to say about Skittles. No, we've beaten the Skittle. I do not understand going to the movies or a convenience store and seeing an incredible array of options and choosing those chewy, disgusting little blobs. I have never understood the Skittle. I don't understand why. There's even another candy that's shaped, two that are shaped the exact same shape. The Reese's and the M&M.
But they're trying to convert you.
And it's not going to work.
Mustard.
I love mustard.
You could dump them in the popcorn.
Oh, no, you could dump them in the popcorn. Fuck. Let's spin it again. That's stupid. I'm stupid. It has landed on the summer sun.
Yes, I'm mad at the summer sun. The summer sun is too strong. She's annoying me. She's obsessed with herself. She's over the top. She's gauche. She's going too hard. The summer sun is turned up too high. It's too hot, is what I'm saying. The summer sun needs to get over herself and grow up. The summer sun is making my body swell in uncontrollable ways. My thighs are kind of rubbing against each other in new and exciting ways I never thought possible. Thanks to the summer sun. The summer sun herself makes my hair look absolutely insane, chaotic. The summer sun, I think this is science. The summer sun makes the subway steps sort of swell in a way that, like, it's so hard to walk up even two of them. I will take the subway to a stop that's farther from my house because it's closer to the ground, as they call it. Because going up those stairs, it's worse than any gym could ever be. Why is that? Because of the summer sun, probably. Anyways, whatever.
Such an important point. I love being back in New York because you can, like this, we don't have this subway like we have in LA. You can't get to go everywhere on the subway. And then I went down in the subway yesterday and I got hit by that wall of hot air. And I was like, oh, right. Let's spin it again. It has landed on summer.
Seriously? So my rant has changed from
What do you want to
summer
rant?
to shows that have two people on that are ranting about the same thing. And they don't call you in advance and tell you so that you could come up either with a fresh topic that you could rant about yourself and own, right? Or, I don't know, like tell you to rant about something else.
That's what
I'm
should have
ranting
happened.
about.
I think you're right.
I think that's a
We
shitty
fucked up.
thing.
We fucked
Hello?
up.
Where are the producers? I guess it is a podcast, huh? Bye-bye. I'm sorry, but...
What happened?
She made all the good jokes about the
You're
hair
full
and
of
the
shit. I
feet
told you in the
and-
green room you were both ranting about the same thing.
Darling. What green room? What green room? Okay, you call that a green room? That's like a... That's like a walk-in refrigerator, okay? Let me tell you. That is not a green room. Where you have to get your own chair and bring it in. This is not a green room. That's my rant. I hate that green room, okay? It came to me.
Now, what if, Isaac Mizrahi, that created a tension and energy that produced the best thing we could have had?
Wasn't it incredible? And yet I had to share a mic.
Let's spin it again.
Oh, God.
It has landed on The False Promise of Sci-Fi.
The False Promise. That's actually not exactly maybe the most accurate title for the rant.
Okay.
But it is because The False Promise of Sci-Fi. I am old enough, I hate to admit it, I hate to say these things like, oh, when I was your age, that kind of thing, but I say them anyway because I'm now the guy, the get off my lawn guy. But this is the thing, I remember the Jetsons, okay? The Jetsons was the thing that in my formative years as a young child was the promise of the future and the promise of technology of the future. Like, little computers that you could carry around and like FaceTiming. That was on the Jetsons, 50 years ago. And so that was wonderful because we've come now to this place where we are actually experiencing the things that were in this cartoon that were this marvelous fantasy of the future. But the problem with this whole scenario and the way that it's played out for me is that nothing works. Nothing actually is dependable or can be depended upon in that way that it was so nice in the Jetsons that they would have this uninterrupted FaceTime without any kind of audio problems or any kind of connectivity problems or Wi-Fi problems or anything. And so I spend so much time now on the phone with some kind of support person or something like that. And it's not because I don't know how to use the stuff, because I'm very sensitive about being accused as an older person of not being able to use things. It's because the shit doesn't work.
Doesn't work.
And they left that part out of the whole fantasy of the sci-fi. They left this whole gigantic thing out, which is that the shit might not work, and when the shit does not work, you just rather that you didn't have the thing that was supposed to make your life better, because it doesn't make your life better because the shit doesn't work. And so I remember this time, in the old days, when you got a big fancy television with a wooden cabinet around it, and it was color. And if it was a working TV and it was plugged in, when you turned the knob, the fucking TV went on. But now I have Hue lights in my house. Philips Hue. Oh, I shouldn't say brand names, should I? But I have these lights that are hooked up to my phone. And sometimes they're great. And a lot of the times they don't. And the music. And why doesn't Siri understand what the fuck I'm saying? If you're going to be a Siri, you should be able to fucking understand what I'm saying. It's fundamental to the whole concept of what a Siri should be, right? But I'm repeating myself constantly, and I'm exhausted. I'm old and exhausted.
Thank you for sharing that.
I don't want to go back to the way things were, but I don't really like being on support help on the phone either.
And there's the rub. Let's spin it again. No.
Okay.
Janeane has landed on something rantastic because I believe you didn't know what you were going to rant about.
But here's the thing about rant. That implies that somebody is being unreasonable. So what I'm about to say, I think, is something I think is a scourge in New York, and it's the New York Post. That it still exists, and you are confronted with it, and it is allowed to operate. And Alexander Hamilton, knuckle supper. Yes, he started it. I believe Alexander Hamilton started the New York Evening Post. And I don't think he meant it to be this. But the fact that it operates, I believe it loses money. It's just another arm of this machine, and just that you're confronted with this. It lowers all boats, I feel. You know what I mean? Like I hate that New York has to have everywhere the New York Post and the covers of it, and it just, for some reason, it's just like getting a gut punch when you see that all the time. And that's not a rant. That is a statement of fact.
Well,
I feel.
Thank you so much. And in the spirit of open inquiry and exchange, I'd like to issue a counterpoint. Weiner roasted, amazing front page. Weiner rising, amazing front page. Weiner's out, amazing front page. So, I think it's maybe, I hear what you're saying.
The negative it brings far outweighs the clever.
Okay, that may be, and fair enough. And what would you, which one is better? The New York Times is better because of its excellent coverage and all the ways.
It is better, but not without its faults. And Sinead O'Connor was much more than a person who just ripped up a picture. Just as one example yesterday, to reduce Sinead O'Connor, and that is the least of their sins. I mean, and that crossword puzzle. But the New York Times is certainly far better than the New York Post.
We've always thought the New York Times was better than the New York Post. It's not even a question any of us would have thought to ask.
But it is also guilty of things as well.
Hey, question.
But not nearly as much as the Post.
What do you think about summer? No, I'm just-
I'll tell you, I actually do. I dislike it.
Let's spin it. Who likes it? I love it. We love it. We love it. Let's spin it one more time. Fantastic. Never lands on the same thing twice. It's landed on window AC units proposed by the Tsar herself. A beloved figure. A benevolent Tsar.
Yes. So a tool of summer, which I do enjoy, but my vendetta is not against all AC units and how they are ubiquitous across New York City. It's against one AC unit that when I lay in bed at night, drip, 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 drip on my window unit. So my neighbor's unit runs and the condensate, telltale hearts outside of my window all night long and keeps me awake. And for someone who spends their day trying to rid New York of rats, I need my beauty sleep. And that thwacking keeps me up night after night.
Do you think the rats got to your neighbor? Do you think it's a psychological tool? They're trying to keep you up? These rats are clever.
They are clever. I'll have to go to a wellness check upstairs to make sure everyone's okay.
Something to think about. Perish the thought. And that's the Rant Wheel.